Welcome to my podcast. Why didn't anyone tell me this? With my guests, we are discussing reproductive health issues, questions you may have about your health, and debunking some of the many myths around our health. And in this series about embracing age, today it is a total pleasure to be speaking to Bukky Ayoade about your vibrant midlife in the podcast series about embracing age. And Bukky is the principal consultant at Vibrant Midlife Wellness Practice. She helps motivate women in midlife to overcome the disruption of hormone chaos that can accompany the menopause transition and develop their personalised menopause care plan so they are happier, fitter, healthier, more confident, and fabulous. We like being fabulous.
Absolutely.
Aside from Aside from being a certified health and wellness coach to midlife women, her wellness coaching is underpinned by over 35 years of experience as a pharmacist working at various blue chip pharmacological companies. And Bukky is currently sharing her experience and her expertise with NHS England, helping to improve women's health and lead a work stream on the National Menopause programme. She has been responsible for the launch of two key products to help support the NHS workforce going through the menopause transition: the National Menopause Guidance for staff and line managers, and a core Menopause Awareness e-learning tool for all staff. She also helps organisations support and retain highly skilled female talent through menopause training, coaching, and consultancy. And she has recently published a beautiful and amazing self-care tool for midlife women, the Vibrant Midlife Wellness and Affirmation Journal. Woo! Welcome, Bukky.
A pleasure to be here. A pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You really are a vibrant woman. It's always a pleasure to see you, and we're going to
Oh,
have a
thanks.
great
I
a
can
great chat.
imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
So I love by starting my podcast to ask my guests what led them to the career they are now doing. So please tell us a bit more about your passion for being a women's advocate promoting wellness.
So obviously you talked about my background, my pharmacy background. I've always been in healthcare. So yeah, and that's been my default for many years. In pharma, I've supported many women's health brands, in all of the different companies that I've worked at. And believe it or not, beyond pharma, I trained, I think it was about 10, even more than that, years ago as a certified image consultant. So I've always been involved in uh, women, just helping women in their health and well-being and all of that kind of stuff. So with styling, it was more around the confidence, the self-esteem, putting their best foot forward. um, and so I think it was 2019. It's the year I was 55 because I remember that. And Pharma, that my last contract was just, it was something else. And I settled down and I thought, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I need to know what it is I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I made a conscious effort to take time out. I did that and I worked with a career coach, and she was one of our medics in pharma who I'd worked with at AstraZeneca and we'd worked quite closely, and I knew her really well. She was a really brilliant leader, but she'd pivoted out of pharma into executive coaching. So I called her up and said, I need some help. And so I was meant to have 3 sessions with her. I had 2 sessions with her and was able to crystallize, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And it was work with women around my age, still work in healthcare, and then just support them in that way. But I thought, okay, yeah, I'm a pharmacist. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. But I had some other colleagues I was in network with. They are lifestyle medicine physicians, and one of them, she's also a health coach. So I said to her, I said, what can I do? And she said, oh, she recommended this health coaching certification. So I did that. Yeah, and that was how I pivoted into supporting midlife women with their health and well-being and all of that. And then the menopause came through as well. So I did all of that back end of 2019. 2020, obviously, I'd gone away for about 3, 4 months. I was back in the UK. I wanted to go back into pharma, but of course the pandemic hit, and it was a case of there were no contracts, there was nothing. So I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? And it's like, oh, those papers that you wrote, and because I with Katrina we did a whole lot of mapping, and this is what it's going to look like, and all of that. And I just brought all of that out, and I launched Vibrant Midlife in the pandemic in June of 2020.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, started coaching women, doing all of that, and then this NHS role came up, which was too good to pass up on. And so yeah, I've been at NHS England since October 2021. So I do I have I wear two hats.
We would like lots of hats. And I must say, so interviewing 50 women over 50 for my next book, it's amazing how many of the women had this transition as you have,
Mm,
doing one job for many years and
mhm,
in their 50s thinking, actually, I don't want to do this. Let's
mm,
change. And that
mm.
change is amazing and fantastic that you got some great advice to
Yes.
take that change on board.
She was amazing, because she really asked some really piercing questions. I mean, I think because being a professional, I value professional input into what I'm doing. So I would always seek out, and help in some way. But yeah, she was. We booked 3 sessions. After session 2, I said to her, I said, Katrina, you can gift my last session to someone else. I don't need to come, because one day as I was driving out of her house, I just had it's like I had this download, and I just started. Yeah, yeah, it was good.
Fantastic. And Bukky, you are one of the women I have interviewed for my book. It was a total pleasure to chat to you about
Um,
all the questions I was asking.
mm,
And we are a growing group of women over 50 who want to encourage positive aging. And this is the first question I asked you during the
mm.
book interview. What is your view on aging?
So I personally, my view is it's a privilege to be alive at this time. I I've never had qualms about my age, if I'm honest. I guess I I always say possibly because I don't look my age, but even so, I it's not something that bothers me in any way at all. And for me, I focus on embracing my advancing years, making the best time of the life that I have, live well, age gracefully, be happy, and just enjoy life. I think honestly, that is my approach. And I'm not saying it's all bells and whistles and rainbows and unicorns, but that's my default.
Beautifully put.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
wonderful words. And you call your work the Vibrant Midlife, but there are many women, or some
Mhm.
women, who do not feel vibrant at this stage of their lives. So, how do you think we can change this?
So one of the reasons why I called our organization Vibrant Midlife was obviously when I was looking to put the organization together. I worked with a branding consultant, and if you Google midlife, the first thing that comes up is midlife crisis. And I said to her, I honestly I remember saying to her, I said, I need to promote a different narrative around this phase of life. So we obviously put, she did some, okay, what words and this, and then we just put vibrant midlife together, and that was it. And I said, yeah, I'm going with that. So I would say to women, I appreciate that not we all don't have, I mean, the best experience at this time, but it is possible to have a vibrant midlife. It's not a destination, it's a journey. I start with mindset, because as we think, so so we are. When we can have good thoughts, when we know, we look at our symptoms or issues at this phase of life, approach it with a positive, a solution focused mindset, we can come up with the solutions. Close your ears from all of that noise that's out there, because there is a lot of noise, but seek out solutions with the right support. Give yourself grace and patience as well. tackle one thing, then the next, and the next, and the next, and things begin to fall into place. Well, that's been my experience.
More wise words for sure. And you and I are both big fans of looking after our lifestyle, because to be vibrant,
Mm-hmm.
our health is really, really paramount,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So why is lifestyle so important as we embrace age?
So I, when I go out and give a talk, I have this quote. I say our physical, mental, and spiritual those pillars support our life's purpose. So we need to prioritize them. So yeah, and the pillars, obviously the lifestyle pillars, what are they? They're your nutrition, they're the way you move, they're the support that you have, sleep, managing stress, and you know, how we use alcohol and other substances. Those are the, once we, if you can get those pillars working for you, um, even when we talk about menopause and symptoms, invariably a lot of those locked down will impact your symptoms positively. So that's why for me it's key. It's not just for physical well-being, but for mental well-being as well. You know, with all of the psychological symptoms of the menopause, those things really do help.
They really do. And let's dig a little bit deeper into those. And when I interviewed Susan Saunders on my podcast earlier, she said that these lifestyle choices are in our hands. It's up to
Mm-hmm.
us. We can
Mm-hmm.
continue if we've been unhealthy, we can continue.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to be vibrant, I agree with you. We've got to really look after those lifestyles. So let's dig a little bit more into them. So let's start with nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned alcohol, which I also put in with nutrition. And
Mm-hmm.
many of the women I've interviewed are no longer drinking or have really cut down. They've
Yes.
realized a change in how their body's metabolizing
Mm-hmm.
many things, but including alcohol. So tell us more about nutrition and alcohol.
So obviously, we know that we should cut out a lot of processed. I think what I would say is, let me say what I do for myself, because that way I'm not preaching. I'm just saying this is what has helped me. So I cut out a lot of processed food. I cut out a lot of foods that I found I couldn't tolerate anymore. So I had one of my really terrible things was really bad gut issues. So I cut out things like milk because I couldn't tolerate it anymore. I found swaps as well. So in our culture, we eat a lot of rice. So, but I had to obviously check, and we eat a lot of white rice. So I changed to brown rice. I changed to bulgur wheat, because obviously you're not wanting to spike your blood sugars. You're wanting to maintain balanced glucose levels. The other things that I bring in a lot of are, I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but I do have a plant slant to my diet. So I eat a lot of fruits. I eat a lot of vegetables, certain fruits. So the berries are my friends. Um, the other thing we eat in our culture is yam, and a lot of HRT comes is derived from yam. We obviously, you can't eat yam at the, to give you HRT doses, but at least, and the thing with yam is it keeps you fuller for longer as well. It's quite good. So I switch sometimes for potatoes for yam. I switch potatoes for sweet potato, those kind of things. Hydration is very, very important. Drinking lots of water, not just for your, you know, for your system, and you know, just, it's also very, very good for even your skin. You know, we find how your skin dries out at this time. So those are the few things. Proteins, eating a lot of proteins, again, keeping yourself fuller for longer. I also, when I talk about nutrition as well, I also came up with some eating windows. I know the jury's out about intermittent fasting, but in lockdown, if I had not done that, I would have been a whale, because I was home eating like it was going out of fashion. So I do that, and I found that having that window helps me, because I have my last meal about 6 p.m., so that, you know, my food, I'm not going to bed on a full stomach and things like just those are kind of some of the tips that I've found helpful for myself food wise.
They're brilliant advice, and sorry, I totally agree with you about during COVID. I did start intermittent fasting in COVID, and weight just disappeared from me. I was eating between about 11 and 6,
I'm the
and I found
same,
that
yeah.
very easy. And then after COVID, I put it all back on because it all went pear-shaped.
So
But
I
I
would, yeah.
carry on.
So, no, please, I beg your pardon. Carry on.
I've gone back on that now, and I know that sugar is really our enemy. Processed sugar is so bad for us. So I've been doing no sugar, processed sugar, and no a small eating window for about 8 weeks, and I'm feeling great. I'm feeling full of energy and absolutely great.
So I would have a hot drink about 10 o'clock with half a date. So because I still like sweetness. So that would be what I would as I remember sometimes I do that. Sometimes I mix apple cider vinegar, I mix that with some water and just drink that in the morning first thing. Um and then my first meal is midday, about midday. And then I might have something light about 3 o'clock or thereabout, and then dinner. So I still
Yeah.
eat. I eat like it's going out of fashion. I graze as well. So people wonder how is it, but I just know how to choose things. Yeah.
But as you said, the jury is out on intermittent fasting, and
Mm.
I think everyone's got their own. Well, everyone definitely has got their own body and what
Mm.
works them. I know many people I've told them I don't eat till about 12 or 1. Actually, today it was 2,
Mm.
2 p.m. And many people said they couldn't do that. So I think it's important to listen to our body.
Absolutely, yeah. And there are times when I find, you know what, I can't. I will just, I'm not hard and fast strict about this, but because again, it's just become habit now. That's how I operate. So when I go away when you go away, I stay in a hotel and it's like breakfast and it's 10 o'clock. I'm like, I don't want to be waking up for breakfast at 10 o'clock. Just want to sleep. So that can be a challenge.
I'm in a lot of hotels at conferences, and people can't
Yes.
believe that I haven't eaten breakfast at a conference for many years, and they
Yeah,
say, but
because I remember, yeah, farmer days, because you always go to
oh,
these lovely places and it's a whole spread and you're thinking, oh my God. Yeah. And then the teas and
it
the cakes come in at tea time.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my way of dealing with it all. I just say no breakfast and none of the cakes. Everything's just got to stop. Let's move on to movement. So you mentioned movement, which
Mm,
obviously is so important, but so many women have not quite got there yet. So what
mm.
advice would you give about movement?
I'd say, first of all, I always say, because there's, do this, do that, do the other. I'm like, do what you enjoy, because that way you're probably going to sustain it. I'd say also if you're not someone if it's a person that's not had any movement in their life, I would typically recommend getting some support initially just to get started, to get you started. The support is there to get you started and also to keep you accountable. I find I what I do is I walk. It's free. I don't have to think about it. I just walk. So that's an easy one to do. I think there's what's that one called? Couch to 10K, Couch to 5K. There are those kind of program. Couch to 5K. There are those kind of. I think there's an app. There is actually an app on the App Store for whichever program, which is quite easy, and it gives a gradual build up to doing stuff. But as I said, if it's what you enjoy doing, obviously, in terms of other exercise that we need to be doing, we know we need to be doing resistance. Be that weights, be that bands, be that Pilates. I know that Pilates stretches. I know when I used to do all of that quite properly, I mean, they just help you tone up as really, really well, give you good posture, actually give you a sense of just a real boost in terms of you're really straight. And yeah, so those are the things I'd say I found. But please, please, please just do what you enjoy. Again, shut out the noise. Find out what it is you like. Be that, it could be swimming, it could be, it could be dance. So I'm trying to see if I can find a Zumba class right about now because I enjoy dancing, and I think, yeah, that will be helpful for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a few women say that they do it because they know they need to do it, but they don't enjoy it, which I think is a real shame.
Yes.
I think it's a shame. I do classes that I really enjoy. I'm literally whooping and smiling through the whole thing. Um, and I've, we see all these myths. I've heard that older women shouldn't be doing high intensity classes, but I love high intensity classes. I love getting through that wall and just sort of takes me
Well, I guess,
flying.
yeah, I think I find I'm not too sure about the impact on joints. So that's why I kind of like to go gentle myself. I like to go gentle. But I guess also it's also saying to women, try different things, because amongst all of the different options, there would be one that you can probably find that you enjoy. And again, it's that mindset piece. Engage, think about how this is going to benefit your, you know do all the benefits that you can gain from being moving, being active, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, love it, love it. And one of the other pillars, sleep. So
Ah,
lots of women are having problems sleeping. What advice do you give?
that's one I've not cracked myself, Joyce. I've not.
I have.
Oh, fantastic. So I think I'll let you know. For me, I think obviously we say the things that we see, that we know. Have a routine, but stay away from devices. What I have found to be helpful, I'll say, some of the things that I have, these teas, some of them have been helpful. I have some oils that I use. I use a lavender oil sometimes, and then there's another one called, is it clary sage? That I found that quite helpful. And then just, I there are certain things, if I listen to them, if I put them on, I know that they will make me go to sleep. So those are the kind of things but that's still on a device. So you know. But yeah, Joyce, share with us, what is your remedy for sleep?
My friends say it's my superpower.
Mm,
I've always been a good sleeper, and I know many of the women I interviewed are having problems with sleeping. It was the one thing that I think most of them had problems with, where everything
mhm,
else in their life they'd really been managing.
mm,
I know that I don't like staying up really late. So
mhm,
recently I did a night that I went to bed about 4:30 in the morning, and I was out for days. I
mm,
2 3 days.
mhm,
I was just felt tired all the time. So
mhm.
so for me, I listen to my body. I'll fall asleep when it's ready.
Yeah.
Normally, as soon as I sit on the sofa when I'm sort of chilling, my
Mhm.
kids laugh. Why did you put the TV on?
Yeah,
You just
because
fell asleep.
straight away you're knocked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think.
I'm a big fan of power naps. So I do power nap. Sometimes it might be
Okay.
5 minutes or 15
Okay.
minutes, however long it takes. But
Okay.
yeah, and I don't set an alarm. I never set an alarm.
No, my body. I think my body just wakes up at its time anyway. One of the things I do, which is probably why that impacts my sleep, is because once I log off work, etc., 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 have dinner, I will put the telly on and I will doze off then. So that
Mm.
that window is, and so I wake up and then I'm alert for time. And so I think that's what impacts my nighttime sleeping. But then I don't know. The other thing that one of the ladies that came into the Vibrant Midlife Hub, she talked to us about pelvic health. But then she talked about having, not drinking, but having sips in the evening, because then you're not waking up to go to the loo. So
Hmm.
that's another one that's possibly helpful.
Yes, I do that. I only have a sip of water before bed, and
Yeah,
I don't wake up to go to the loo. I
yeah.
also sleep alone. Well, maybe some
Yes.
cats on the bed, but yesterday in my women's group we were talking about ended up talking about sleep,
Mm,
and most of the women there were had a husband or a partner
yes,
and were sleeping with
that can be
somebody.
tricky. Yeah,
Mm. I don't think
yeah.
I ever want to sleep overnight with somebody again.
I'm not. I'm never saying never. However, we will have to work it out so that we're not impacting each other negatively. Oh
Oh,
goodness. Yeah, but I can imagine
and
that being I'm hot, you're cold, I'm cold, you're hot, and all of that going on. Yeah, it could be a bit tricky.
and snoring.
And snoring, yes, yes. But I didn't want to be sexist because not just men snore.
No,
So
I snore. I definitely snore.
so yeah.
Let's move on to friendships and our networking and community. So that was one
Hmm.
of your other pillars, and I again on my pillars as well. It's really
Yeah.
important, and this morning I did a survey with Dementia UK. I thought well, Alzheimer's. What other dementia or Alzheimer's UK? And they had a whole section asking how our friendships and community was, and how many
Hmm.
times we spoke to people or met with people, and
Hmm.
that's so important, isn't it, for our health and happiness?
Yeah, absolutely. I say, when I write and I post and I say you should not do midlife alone. It's not a good place to be at all. You do need it. You don't need wide and vast networks, but you just need those trusted few of the many, yeah, to support you. And do midlife in community. There's so much value in doing that. Definitely. Yeah, there's so much value, the support, you share experiences, you know that there are people you can call on when you're feeling down, when you're feeling low, when you want, for the good, for the bad, when you want to just hang out. I mean, you spoke to your single, I'm single. Sometimes I just want to hang out and you're thinking, I have a couple of girlfriends. I just say, oh, should we just go out for this or should we do this together? Take trips away, and so on. Otherwise, yeah, life can be life's tough anyway, so just make it easier for yourself. Hang out.
Yeah, hang out, share it.
Hang out.
And the last of the lifestyle choices was our mental health.
Mhm.
So what advice would you give people who are having mental health issues?
um I think is to if it, I don't I mean this now depends. Obviously, if it's a diagnosed condition, it's work with your healthcare practitioner, obviously, and but then find things that will help you eliminate stress from your life. That's number one. Ask for support, ask for help, and then, you know, get involved in some in things that help you relax. Get involved in self-care as well. You know, give yourself grace and patience because, there's a lot going on. Create boundaries as well. And yeah, just invest in yourself and your self-care. I find walking outdoors, being out in nature I find that clears my head a lot. Be that just walking out at the park, in the woods. I love water. So, and yeah, just create time and space for yourself, really, is what I'd say.
Yeah, there are definitely, being in nature is a beautiful way to clear your head.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to laugh at, so cold water swimming.
Yes, I know. I see that. It's not happening. Joyce,
I'm,
it's not.
I'm going to work on it.
I'm an
But
African girl. I love the sun.
but it is something that really clears our head. I mean, we come away from a swim and I'm always so calm and
Okay.
light.
So can a cold shower replicate a cold water swim?
I don't do cold showers. We'll have to ask someone that does cold showers. I don't think, I think part of it, Bookie, is actually being in nature.
I
Um,
see. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
know being in nature is great. Now
I'll
yeah, carry on.
I'll do it. I'll do it via osmosis, via yourself, Joyce. Because I just think I see you and I see all the and I've actually watched programs and I think I could not imagine jumping into a cold. No, no.
But what's important with these five pillars is doing what's right for us.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
it's so individual, and I think
Yeah,
that's highlighted.
yeah,
Do what brings you pleasure, not what brings
yeah.
anyone else pleasure. It's all about you,
Mm-hmm,
for
mm-hmm.
sure.
Definitely.
And before we go into more of your work, I just wanted to mention role models.
Mm-hmm,
So the last podcast I did was with Rachel Peru, and we were talking about the importance of on social media people following inspiring women who are great role models, and you're one of those. So what's your thoughts about how I think we should all fill up our feeds with these great role models who are
mm.
motivating us, inspiring us? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. I, but funny enough, I don't know. I, there are women I admire, don't get me wrong, but I don't know that if you pinned me down just now and said, who are your role models? My late mother, obviously she's late, but yeah, because she was widowed really early and yeah, she just held her own and brought us up as best as she possibly could. But she modeled, and in the way that she brought us up, it was a case of, you need this, and she instilled a whole lot of different things into me. So yes, um, and then in our menopause space, if I was going to say at the moment, one of the women that I look and I admire is Anise. I love her disposition and her where she's coming from as it relates to all of this menno madness going on. Yeah, I do, and obviously yourself. I mean, because of I just it's not just because we do stuff together. It's just the way you approach things as well, and the way that you're inclusive. You involve other people. Somebody would look at you and all of your accolades and think, but you're still approachable. You give people time.
Yeah, I get so much from doing that. It makes me feel wonderful. So it's a privilege. It's a privilege to do that. So Bookie, let's go into your work. So you do many things. So let's first talk about your free ebook on 5 keys to help lose midlife weight and keep it off. So tell us a bit more about that.
So I created that because weight gain was a bugbear for myself. So most of the things I put out there, because yeah, weight gain was a bugbear for myself. But then, there's all the narrative around it has to be via dieting, or weight loss has to be via dieting. And I'm like, I still default to lifestyle and habit change and all of that kind of stuff to say, you know what, if we start with a mindset piece, loving your body how it is, but thinking, okay, I want to lose this weight for X, Y, it could be for health reasons, X, Y, Z, or confidence or whatever. Um, that and then what are the things you can do? And it's making those minor tweaks. As like I spoke to earlier on. So within that ebook, it covers it covers nutrition, it covers exercise, it covers using certain tools as well that can help you. It covers having an accountability partner, possibly. Just it's a very short ebook, but yeah, that's what it's. And it really it's more about habit lifestyle change, and then when you make those changes, you will see the rates drop off as a matter of course. But if you're fixated on the scale and on the weight, etc., etc., so yeah.
Yeah, well, forget about the scales for sure. Now, you write regular blogs and you write about lots of really important topics. So I wanted to go through those. One of your recent ones, a number of times you've written about feeling gratitude. Can you tell
Mhm.
us more why you think having gratitude is important?
So first of all, gratitude is an evidence-based wellness practice. So and I believe that what we choose to focus on expands in our lives. As I said, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. Life can be tough, but even on a tough day, if you can find one thing to be, I'm thankful for, it just gives that day a different complexion. And so that's why I use that as a practice, and it helps reframe the mind. I know some people talk about toxic positivity. I'm like, I well, if that's what it is, I will embrace gratitude. I will be thankful for, because where you think you are, and you are not, someone's looking at you thinking that's where I want to be. So even that is something to be thankful for. It's there's a lot going on in the world at this point, and we are in good places if we really really look at things across the board.
Yeah, I agree. I've been told that I'm too gushingly positive some of the
Mm,
times, and
mm.
there are women struggling, and just hearing my positivity all the time is quite toxic to them. But I think having that gratitude is really important. And you also recommend affirmations. So can you tell us about affirmations?
So again, it's speaking what I want to see in my life rather than what's going on. So, and that's, I mean, within Vibrant Midlife, I think you're well aware that Vibrant Midlife is an evidence-based practice, but we are a faith-based practice as well. And so it's more, affirmations comes from speaking the word, speaking what I want to see, speaking that positivity, because our words create our reality. So yeah, that's one of the things that I cover. And yeah, and I cover it in different ways, actually, within the journal, but in my own personal life I say these things because, so something around, someone might feel anxious, you counter that. uh, we there are verses that talk about, I will be anxious for nothing. And so, I just recite that, and I use it actually. We call them breath prayers. So you would recite the affirmation, you take a breath, or you have a verse, and you take each line will be speak and breathe, speak and breathe, speak and breathe, and it just helps calm you down sometimes as well.
Yeah, that's very good advice. And let's talk about meditation. So why is that important? And do you have any tips?
So you know how we spoke to mental health before. I'm not brilliant at meditation, I'll be honest, because I can't sit still for 2 seconds. But it's something I'm trying to do more of at the moment. And so I feel that, yeah, it helps with the head, definitely. And again, it's focusing on the, as you choose to. I mean, I'm hoping that anyone that chooses to meditate will be meditating on what is good. Again, just bringing that goodness into our lives. So what I use an app, actually. I use a meditation app which I have found to be helpful. It's called Soul Time, and it covers a range of emotions. So then it also, we talked about sleep. Soul Time has some sleep stories on there as well. So it's one of the things that I can just put on in the background and listen to and drift off. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a good use of technology.
Yeah.
I know it sounds counterintuitive,
Mm.
um, but for me, the meditation apps have really changed it for me. So I
Yeah.
use the Calm app, and
Yes.
I try to do a meditation every morning. And then if I don't, I think, wow, could I really not give 10 minutes
Yeah.
to do a guided meditation?
Absolutely. And they are
And
guided. You really don't have to do much. You just need to sit still, focus, listen, and breathe.
I breathing's good. And I'm with you. If I do have trouble, if I wake up, I don't have trouble falling asleep. But if I do
Mm,
wake up, putting
mm,
on one of the sleep stories, the
mm-hmm,
Calm app also has sleep stories.
mm,
I know I don't know what any of the stories are about
mm-hmm.
because I've nodded
Yes.
off. I've
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, they are quite helpful. They, as you said, it's a very, very brilliant use of technology. Yeah,
Yeah, but it does mean you have your phone in your room, which is
I
but
know.
with with at the beginning of this series about embracing age with Kate Codrington, she
Okay.
talked about the Nidra yoga meditation, guided meditations,
Yes, I think she's
and
got some of those of her own, hasn't she?
yes,
Yes.
yeah, and there are lots on YouTube, so you don't need to have an app. And on Saturday mornings we go swimming by a beautiful lake, and
Okay.
we then do a little Nidra meditation,
Oh,
and
amazing.
it's I'm so calm.
Oh, amazing. I
You
know
wouldn't
with the
recognize
cold
me.
water and then that just it's just like, oh my God, that must be good. That must make you feel really, really good. I
It
can
does. It's a
imagine. Yeah.
great way
Maybe
to start the week,
maybe
I
what
think.
I will do is I will come to your area one of these days. I'll buy one of those you know those tankini things that people wear to go swimming
Yeah.
that covers everything so I don't feel cold. Maybe I'll try it in that one of those.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to hold you to
Maybe I said.
that. Everyone heard. Now, tell us more about your website, and also you do workshops. So tell us about the workshops.
So, um, yes, the workshops are menopause awareness, but what we do is we try and create a space. So I don't have large groups, just so that women can connect, they can get, some focused time. I also always try to bring in a medic. So a medic that specializes in menopause, because again, so that I know what I know, but there might be questions around HRT, there might be questions around my prescription, or a bit more. So I try and do that. And the reason why we try and keep our groups small is so that we can get women to connect and we can support them on a deeper level. um we're also building a fun element. I love to build in a fun element, so it could be, there'll be with a nice venue, good food. We build into our agenda time for women to actually connect, because it's not just about, so it's again forming. And a couple of things we've done. One we had someone come and talk about oils, and they were, women were, they were using the oils, and just in pairs. And this last one we did, we had someone come in and lead women, like a sip and paint type session we had. And yeah, they what we're at the moment, I'm just looking at all of my offers towards the back end of this year, so that I'm trying to, because you know how it is with time. So I'm just trying to streamline everything. I would like to take the workshops actually into organizations, but we'll see. So I'm just trying to streamline and refine what I'm offering, and that will come out in 2025.
Fabulous. We'll look forward to that for sure.
Mhm.
And you've actually written two books, both with the word journal in. So you've written the Vibrant Midlife Journal and the Vibrant Midlife Affirmation Journal. So tell us more about those books and why you put journal in both those titles.
So it's the one book. I don't. It's just the one. It's the
Oh,
same.
it's a one book,
It's the one
same
wellness.
book.
It's the same one wellness and affirmation journal. Because simply because, again, journaling is another wellness wellness evidence based wellness practice, where you're taking time out first of all to invest in yourself, in your self-care. I'd say what I say about the journal is it's a very low barrier entry to self-care and accountability, because at least if you commit to do that every day for yourself, it's covers 52 weeks of the year. It's undated, so you can start, and covers different topics. Obviously, the wellness pillars are all in there. So the diet, and there's an action for every week. We also have in there a meditation verse. We have in there space to capture gratitude every day. And I just felt, I don't know. This was right at the very start. I just felt, just wanted to create something that women could sit with, invest in themselves, and yeah, just, but also not just right, but something that prompts people, women into action as well. And obviously covering all of those pillars. So yeah.
Terrific. And Bukky, we first met, well, we met a couple of times, but then you came to me quite a few years ago where we had done a survey of
Mhm,
asking women about menopause many, many years
mhm,
ago now. And it
mhm,
was mainly filled in by white middle class women, unfortunately,
mhm,
which is a very common problem.
mhm.
And you came to me and you said, we need to do this for Black women. And
Yeah,
I was like, wow, yes, we do. We do. Very few Black women filled in the survey
yeah,
originally. So we
yeah.
did that,
Mm.
and we've submitted the paper for hopeful publication soon.
Mhm.
So why did you think it was important to specifically ask Black women their views about menopause?
So it was a number of reasons. Obviously, in my line of work, especially with Vibrant Midlife, my community is majority Black women. It's not exclusive, but it's majority Black women. And I could sense that there was not as much engagement. So someone like Nigel and I, we kind of started out, well, he's been obviously doing his dietitian stuff for forever, but he started Harley Street at Home in the pandemic. We started similar time. And you can see how other communities are engaged and they coalesce around. And our community, our women are no different. They need this information. They need to be aware. But I could see that things were not, it's difficult to get women on board, to get that information to them. So the thinking was, okay, let's ask them what they what they know, what they want, so that then obviously in trying to come up with solutions, it will be solutions that meet their needs and are culturally sensitive. Yeah. And just gauge where they're at, and so that we, in terms of, also in my role at the NHS, I mean, it's no secret, again, to your point, with most menopause communities are white middle class women. Most menopause communities that are moving and shaking are, and that's no, that's not society's fault or whatever, but also it's a case of, I see that at work. So I'm thinking, yeah, we just need to understand more what's going on in these communities so that we can, yeah, help them and try and bridge those is it inequalities, yes, that exist. I would also say, though, that in as much as the healthcare system is doing what it's doing, I would also always encourage my women to move towards this information themselves. Because even when I put on meetings, every month I put on a meeting. Our women sometimes they just don't show up for themselves. So you can't necessarily blame when you say, "Oh, this is not working, that's not working for me." When I mean, I'm a Black woman, I'll put on a meeting, and sometimes people don't show up. So I would also always encourage our women to move towards this information because it's vital. We all need it.
Yeah, we do. We do really need it. And you mentioned your work with the NHS, where you're supporting women in the workplace. Can you
Mm.
tell us any more about
So menopause support at NHS England is part of a retention program, because it's part of a bundle of initiatives that support staff experience and staff retention, because the NHS workforce is 1.3 million strong. 75% of that 1.3 million are women. So we know that we need to support our women going through the transition so that they can stay within the NHS and stay well, so that we can we continue to be proud of that wonderful service, and our women can deliver excellent service and patient care. So yes, it's and what we do is obviously the program we have it's a national program, so we've got strategy coming through there, but we've also created a number of products. So you spoke to those products. We've created documents and products nationally, and then we support and encourage our local NHS organisations to implement menopause support as well. Again, as part of our retention initiatives and priorities. You've possibly heard of the long-term workforce plan, and we've heard of Lord Darcy that was probably going to morph into a 10-year plan coming through. A retention is a problem. We need to keep the workforce ticking over and keep older women in work. And I caveat that because when I say women, we always caveat it that with the fact that the NHS is an inclusive organisation. We are aware that not menopause doesn't just affect cisgender women. However, they are the majority. So we know that people of other gender expressions experience the menopause. We know that younger women experience the menopause, but I speak to the majority. So yeah, so we have our products. We have a couple of modules, a core module, an occupational health module. We're about to launch a different module for people professionals. We've got the national guidance document. We have the self-care fact sheet. There's a whole clinical piece of work that will happen around the optimal pathway toolkit. So this is a toolkit that's the intention of this toolkit it is going to be for non-specialists, non-menopause specialist clinicians, so primary care clinicians, pharmacists, nurses, GPs. So yes, so a lot of work going on around that. And now menopause sits within, it's co-sponsored between the workforce directorate and the nursing directorate. So it's part within nursing, it's part of a bundle of other women's health items that are coming through as well. And we've got our first national clinical director for women's health. You know her, Suman, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Bukky, what's next for Bukky?
I spoke about Vibrant Midlife. So next year will be 5 years. So we're refining our offers. So we'll come out with those hopefully early next year. I'm hoping I want to put on an event, our 5-year event. I have a milestone birthday coming up in December, so that will be fun and games.
21.
I'll be 21 in December. That will be fun and games. I'm looking forward to that. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. And what I've put down, in my head, I said I'm gonna celebrate my birthday every month next year. I'm gonna be doing something to celebrate. I'm celebrating my birthday for the whole of 2025. Yeah, so those are the things I've got planned. So yeah, once I refine these offers, I'll put them out there. So it will be mainly some workshops, but yeah, they'll look slightly different. And yeah, I want to put on this event hopefully in the summer of next year as well.
Fantastic. So keep posted. I agree with you. Drag it out for the whole year. I didn't do it every month, but I did a lot. My kids kept saying, "Are you still celebrating your 6th
Yes,
birthday?"
yes, yes, I am. Yes.
Yes, make the most of it. And Bukky, so I've called the podcast "Why Didn't Anyone Tell Me This?" Have you heard
Mhm.
people say this? What did they tell you?
So I hear this, especially when I give menopause talks. It's like, ooh, yeah, especially when you talk about symptoms and people are just like, ooh. So they know that they've experienced something, but they don't tie it to the perimenopause, menopause transition, and then it all things start to. It's like, oh yes, oh I see, okay, I get that. So definitely a lot more work to be done around awareness, especially in our community. And that's what keeps me going, actually. It's knowing that, there's a need out there, and you're doing, just keep putting one step in front of the other, doing what you're doing, have your focus, and yeah. And that's why also I'm looking forward to Intune, because I know that's going to be a game changer. Because yeah, I say at the NHS, we do a lot of stuff at the NHS. We just don't communicate it. Because I've come from private sector, so I know the value of communication. And so, yeah, we just need to do a bit more around our comms piece.
We do. There's lots of work to do. And
Yeah.
the final questions, what makes you happy and where is your happy place?
So, I love good food, great company. I love travel. And so, my happy place is the sun. When I'm in the sun, or if I'm by water. And increasingly, just being at home doing zero is is a good place to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And last question, what advice would you give your younger self?
I would say just embrace life, embrace the good and the bad, and give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, because life is good. Life is good. There's a lot of good in life. So, yeah, that would be my.
Beautiful. So from two vibrant women, Bukky, that was absolutely fabulous to talk to you about embracing age. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.